Is now the right time to buy your practice? Almost certainly, yes. Universally, when I'm working with buyers, and I work with hundreds every year, 99 out of 100 tell me, Brian, thanks for helping me buy my practice. I can't believe I waited this long to do it. I wish I would have done this 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 7 years ago. Here's the cold hard truth. If you're ready to buy a practice, if you're ready to be a business owner, you can be a business owner in dentistry no matter what's going on in the broader world. That being said, you feeling ready to be a business owner is a different story entirely. Let me talk you through the most common objections I hear to feeling ready to buy a practice. The first one is, I don't feel like I have my financial house in order, or I don't feel like I have enough money, or I feel like my student loan debt is too high. All of these are kind of the same basic objection. They're saying, I don't feel financially prepared to be a business owner. Or another way they say it is, I don't feel like taking on $1 million loan to buy a practice in addition to all this other debt that I had just to get through school and residency. First of all, I get it. I had some graduate debt of my own, granted, not as much as you guys, but coming out of school and looking down the barrel of 6 figures in student loan debt is incredibly intimidating. And no matter how much you're making as an associate, if you have debt hanging over your head, it can feel overwhelming. So I have some empathy for you. But, here's the but. Your feelings, while valid and absolutely worthwhile, they're protecting you, right? They're doing you a disservice here. Your feelings of feeling unprepared or not feeling financially ready are preventing you from getting to the solution that is going to get you out from underneath all of these student loans and all of the mortgage debt and all of the other car loans and everything else that you have. Because the fastest way to get out from underneath that feeling of feeling overwhelmed financially is to make money. And how can you make the most money in dentistry? By owning your own practice. Now, you have to own your own good practice. That's the trick. And we'll talk about how to find a good practice to buy in other videos. But the cold hard truth is, if you want to feel financially ready to buy a practice, you got to go make some money. And the best way to make money in dentistry is to own your own practice. Pure and simple. You will never feel financially ready unless you just take that step and start to see the income that can come in as an owner. The second thing I hear the most is, now is not the right time in my career to buy a practice. Okay, that may be true. Here are the things that you actually need to buy a practice. You need to be out of school and or residency. You specialists, you guys are a different breed. But if you're coming out of a GPR or AGD or your 4th year of dental school, you need to be out for at least a year. So if you're a D3, D4, and you don't feel like you're ready to own a practice, guess what? You're probably right. But if you've been out of your educational experience for anything more than 12 months, you're logistically and experience-wise able to own and operate a dental practice. I would come in and see you if you've been out of school for 12 months. How do I know that you're ready 12 months after school? I know because banks, multiple banks, dozens of banks across the whole country are willing to lend you millions of dollars with nothing for collateral more than a dental diploma on the wall that has a date 12 months ago. If banks are willing to lend millions of dollars to you as a buyer, you're ready to buy a practice with just 12 months of experience. Here's the but. 12 months of experience implies that you've got a production history that can roughly match the production of the practice that you're buying. So if you've been in a cushy job doing $300,000, $400,000, maybe $500,000 of production per year, and you want to go buy a practice that's doing $2 million in production per year, that is a gigantic gap, and it's not necessarily true that you can go buy that $2 million producing practice. But for most buyers, your production history, as long as you can produce roughly 80% of what a selling doctor was producing the year they sold their practice, you are golden. You've got the production history, you've got the time out of school, and you're ready. Now, you might say, Brian, I sure don't feel ready. I don't know what I'm doing with staff. I don't know how to manage the front desk. Insurance billing is crazy. What do I do if somebody goes out on maternity leave? How do I know I'm ready to own a business? It's a great question. It shows that you're thinking, and I commend you for that question because it shows that you at least have some humility to ask the question whether or not you're ready to run a business. Here's my blunt answer to that question, is go drive around your town where you're a dentist right now and look at all of the other dentists running their business and ask yourself, can I run this business at least as well as these people? I gotta tell you, the answer is almost certainly yes, you absolutely can. So I get it, you don't feel ready to run a business. Well, good, that shows some humility. Here's how you're going to feel ready to own a business. You're gonna buy a business and you're gonna figure it out. And there are all kinds of resources to help you do it. You are not the first person to go through this process. It's time to pull the trigger. A third, albeit not as common objection I hear is that the market is too high or too low to buy a dental practice. A lot of people, when they say the market, what they're referring to is the stock market. I get it. If the economy is looking shaky, you start to naturally wonder if now is a good time to go buy a dental practice. When I help buyers in up markets and down markets, what's fascinating to me is how little the price of dental practices fluctuate relative to the rest of the economy. It is technically true that dental practices go up in value when the economy is good, and they go down in value when the economy is bad. But the fluctuation is between 2 and 5% around a median. The swings are not very high. We are not talking about a 40 or 50% drop in the value of dental practices. So if you're hoping that the economy will tank and you'll be able to go buy that dental practice down the street for half off of what it's listed for today, it'll never happen. Similarly, if you're worried that the practice you're buying will continue to see patients and see dental work when the economy is teetering, what I would tell you to do is take heart. First of all, dentistry is a recession-proof industry. It's been proven over and over again. Second, we live in the United States of America where everybody's addicted to sugar. Everyone will have teeth problems all the time. Third, take a look at the production history of the practice. As long as you're not buying a practice where the production is entirely elective, where people are just coming to do it because they're flush with cash, chances are you're gonna be just fine. The traditional bread and butter practice sees a collections decline between 2 and 7% in a recession. That's not great, but it's also not gonna kill your ability to be financially successful in that practice. So, let's recap. Are you ready to buy a practice today or not? The answer is probably yes, because you're more financially prepared than you think. And the way to get financially free is to go buy a practice and go get that cash. You may not feel ready to run a business, but guess what? Nobody else who bought a business felt that way either before they owned it. So go buy that dental practice. That's how you're gonna learn to be ready. And if the economy looks shaky, take heart, you're in a recession-proof industry. Down markets do affect dental practices just like every other business, but not to the same extent and not to an extent that's going to put your ability to put food on the table at risk. Chances are you're ready to buy a practice. This is my best advice for the majority of people out there. If you're not sure if this advice applies to you specifically, give me a call. Hop on to dentalbuyeradvocates.com and check out the free resources we've got there. I've got a book, I've got a free podcast, I've got a course, and there are a ton of free articles that you're welcome to browse to see if you've got what it takes to own a business right now. I believe the chances are good. The answer to my question is yes, you're ready to buy a practice today. But I am more than happy to be a resource for you. If you hop on to dentalbuyeradvocates.com, you can find a link to my calendar. You're welcome to schedule time with me directly to talk through your situation, and I'll give my advice specifically to you.